Okay, so hello. This is Heidi Garris, and this is 21 Days to Money, Magic, and Miracles. We're on day 12. I can't believe we're already way past the halfway point now. Um, all right. Would anybody like to share? Is there anything to celebrate? Anything going on that you want to share? Any kind of magic showing up for you? All right. It's a little early in the morning here for me. 10 o'clock's early in the morning. So we will just jump right in then. Today, our topic is, and I'm going to mute everybody because there's a little bit of noise on the line. Okay, so today what we're going to talk about is something that you've probably heard about before. In fact, most of these concepts, I think you probably understand, are part of the formula of magic and miracles. Today we're going to talk about self-acceptance, and I call it radical self-acceptance. All right. And we can't really go to self-acceptance before we talk about something first. So truly the self-acceptance piece is going to build on 2 days. Well, it's building throughout, but tomorrow we're going to be talking about something called celebrating the rightness of you. But before we do that, we have to kind of bridge that gap, okay? So what we're going to talk about today is really self-judgment. It is something that is pervasive and invasive in pretty much every human's life. I don't know, maybe some people like Deepak Chopra, maybe he doesn't have a whole lot of self-judgment going on. I don't know. But even the people who I consider my spiritual mentors, they still struggle with self-judgment. It's still that those critical inner voices still show up, perhaps not as often as they used to. I know for myself, I used to apologize to everyone and everything for the air that I breathed, and I was wrong in every single thing, and I let myself know it too. And my inner critic was very loud for a long time, and it has quieted down immensely. So it is very, very much possible to make shifts and changes to that critical inner voice. But the first thing you have to do is you have to notice that it's going on, and it is insidious. It almost whispers, and we are in such agreement with it sometimes that we don't even notice it's there. So I'm going through my notes here. Yeah, so it shows up in ways that again, we don't hardly even notice. You know, we bump something and it falls over, and that little voice, oh, that was stupid, or I'm so clumsy, or I'm such an idiot. You know, we say something that wasn't maybe the smartest thing in the middle of a conversation of peers, and we judge ourselves for being, oh, not smart enough. Oh, I shouldn't have said that. Right? So whenever we go into shoulds or I'm such, we know that we're in self-judgment. But here's the thing. That inner critic is a liar, right? Those voices that talk to you and tell you how worthless you are, how stupid you are, how you should be doing something or you shouldn't be doing something, or you could have done it better, you should have done it sooner. It is a liar. It is not speaking of the truth of you, okay? So if you are not ready to hold that space, that the inner critic is a liar, if you're still even in conscious agreement with it, I'm going to honor that that's where you are, and I'm going to hold space for you. Okay, so for whoever you are out there, if you're not in agreement, that's okay. I'm going to hold the space that those voices are not speaking of the truth of you, and I'm going to send out love and intention for you to bridge that gap, so that you can at least agree that those voices are lying and not speaking of who you really are at the core. So what happens is when we give in to the inner critic, whether it's consciously or unconsciously, if we're just subconsciously in agreement with those voices, we pretty much partner with that relentless bully that's in our head. And that's what it is. It's actually a bully. My girlfriend calls it the bully in your brain, Marty Murphy, and maybe she'll write a book about it someday. I think she actually has a program about it, but the bully in your brain, it really is a bully. So, and when we agree with it, we are partnering with it. we are basically picking up the flag that whoever started the belief, right? We're picking up their flag and we are running with it. We're perpetuating the abuse or the lies or the diminishment that was started by somebody else. And I want to ask you, do you really, really want to do that? Do you really want to partner with the people or the peoples or the family members or the church or society who gives us impossible standards to live up to, right? Do we really want to partner with whoever or whatever gave us these terrible things that we're saying back to ourselves? I hope you don't. I hope you don't, because I think you know that when we're in self-judgment, what happens is we cut off our receiving, right? It goes to self-deserving, right? We judge ourselves as wrong. And what happens is then we decide that we're not worthy or we're not deserving. And on Sunday, we've got a really good, I did our recordings for Saturday and Sunday already. So we've got a really good, and both Saturday and Sunday, I think are going to be great for you guys. Sunday, we're going to be talking about the deserving piece. A little bit more, we're doing more work around that. So what happens is when we judge ourselves, it's kind of like we are in a play. There are a multitude of characters, but we play each and every character, right? So we do something that we judge as wrong or silly or stupid, right? We criticize ourselves. And we find ourselves guilty of doing something wrong, so we haul ourselves into court. Actually, we're the arresting police too. So we bring the arresting police in, we handcuff ourselves, drag ourselves into court, and put ourselves before the judge and jury, who really is ourselves as well. So we become the judge and we become the jury. And not surprisingly, we find ourselves wrong of the crime that we've accused ourselves of. And then the judge passes sentence. That's the normal occurrence, right? You find yourselves wrong of something, and so there's a sentence. There's a punishment to be had. And I often see, and we discover with my clients that the way we punish ourselves, we withhold from ourselves, or we create struggle around what we're asking for, whether it's money, whether it's relationship, right? So it all comes from the self-judgment, which feeds into the undeserving. And then this punishment, we're creating this struggle for ourselves. So I invite you to unpartner with whoever gave you these messages consciously. I want you to make a conscious decision to unpartner with that. And I want you to ask a question. But before I do, I also want to say, and you probably get this already, but this is not one of those things with tapping that is going to be like flipping a switch. Okay? For most of you, I'm going to say infinite possibility. Maybe for some people that's possible. But in my experience, chipping away at self-judgment, self-criticism, the inner critic, releasing the feelings of not deserving, releasing the self-punishment is more of a process. So prepare yourselves for that. It's not going to be one of those 1-minute wonders that we often sometimes experience with tapping. And just note, generally speaking, with tapping or anything else, it is more of a process. Sometimes we can get the emotional relief pretty quickly, but generally we're not flipping a switch to black and white, night and day, right and wrong. We are bridging. Levels with the work that we do and moving up that scale, right? So I'm going to ask you to be vigilant. We cannot change what we're not aware of. So I want you to set an intention to start noticing that inner critic when it speaks up, right? And when you start noticing it, instead of agreeing with it and perpetuating it and continuing to say, yes, I am an idiot, and how wrong was that, and that was silly, and that was stupid, I should have, instead of partnering and continuing on with those voices, I want you to ask, who does this belong to? Okay? because it doesn't belong to you. Okay? What it's telling you about yourself is not the core essence of who you are. It is not how you came into this world, or who you are beyond this body. So ask, who does this belong to? Okay, and you might get a cognitive answer. You might go, oh yeah, that's my mom's voice, or that was my grandmother's voice, or I remember my father saying that to my mother, right? So sometimes we have this generational self-judgment. It gets passed down, right? It could even have been permeated while you were in the womb. I myself have received judgment while I was yet unborn. Interesting to have discovered that, but absolutely. In my experience, I was probably born out of wedlock. I'm adopted, and so I was abandoned or given away at birth. And through the special work that I do around prenatal matrix reimprinting, which is fascinating and extremely healing, and we use tapping as part of that process. But I came to discover that I received messages about myself and my worthlessness and my not deserving and me spoiling everybody's lives, probably while I was still in the womb. So it didn't belong to me. I came out believing that already. I already energetically, at least, and my brain probably wasn't formed enough to have those cognitive functionings, but energetically that was with me as soon as I was born, or even before. So it can come from people before you were born. And that for those of you who believe in past lives, I do past life work with clients as well. And we've discovered that they bring it in from past lives, perpetuating it down and down, lifetime after lifetime. So if that's within your system of belief, I'm not even sure that it's 100% within my belief, but I know that people that I work with, it's absolutely their belief. And so I work within their own framework, and we're able to do some really good work around that. But my point is, wherever it comes from, it doesn't belong to you. Who does this belong to? So whether or not you get an answer, you can choose to return it. Okay? And you might have to return the same message over and over again. But each time you do, you are chipping away at the inner critic. You are chipping away at these beliefs that you've inherited. Okay? So who does this belong to? Okay? Whether or not you get an answer as to who, you can then say, I choose to return to sender with consciousness attached. Okay? So if you got it from your mom, I'm inviting you to give it back to her. Okay? And some people don't like that. Like they big hearts, and they don't want to return something negative, even if it was given to them. And I still invite you to return it to them. I don't invite you to send it out to the universe and let it, just dissolve and just out. No, because what we're doing is when we're returning it to the sender with consciousness, it's an invitation and an opportunity for them. Okay? For them to do something with it, because it was probably passed down to them too. Or they received it from somewhere else too, because that is not really who they are at the core either. They are also sparks of the divine. However they're appearing and however they're acting in this lifetime, we are all part of the same stuff. So returning it to them really gives them an opportunity for growth, whether they're here, whether they're past, whether it's in a past life or a past generation that you're not in touch with, or who've already died and moved on. Return to sender and let them deal with it. Okay, it doesn't belong to you. Okay, so I was on my soapbox for a little while there. Now, what I'm going to do is I'm going to, let's just unmute, and if anybody has any comments before we get into tapping, because I have a good tapping sequence to take you through. Anybody have any comments? Okay, I'm not hearing anything. Wait, let's see. Is anybody talking there? Because I think I muted you instead of unmuted you. Okay, quiet day. Okay, so we're gonna. Oh, okay. What we're gonna do?
Did you hear me?
Is that Megan? No, no. Go ahead.
Oh, yeah.
Sorry.
I think I had to hit star six because I couldn't hear you. Um, yeah, I was just going to say it's really loving. I love this concept. I'm definitely going to work on this.
Okay.
And for the first time, I know I've done the return to sender with you before, but it really sunk in deeper today. So thank you.
Fantastic. Yes. Sometimes we need to hear it multiple times before it actually lands in a certain way that we can really embrace it. Or hearing it multiple times helps us to get things on a different level. So fantastic. You're welcome. Okay. All right. So now we're going to go through a little bit of tapping, and I've got a little bit of access to, and some home play. All right. Everybody, karate chop point. Even though I'm sure I deserve my self-judgment because I so clearly see my faults, I should be hypercritical of myself because there's so much wrongness of me. But I honor how I feel, and I'm willing to be willing to begin accepting myself. Even though I deserve my own criticism and my own self-rejection. Because look at me. There's so much wrong with me. How could I even begin to stop those negative voices inside? I accept how I feel, and that this has been a pervasive pattern. And I'm willing to begin accepting myself anyway. Even though I am full of self-judgment and self-criticism, and I get that it's holding me back. And I see how it creates a withholding energy, a punishing energy. And how can I really give myself what I'm asking for if that's the energy I'm in? I honor that I have this deeply embedded pattern. And I'm willing to be willing to release it and have more compassion for me. Okay, and we'll go to the points. I deserve my self-judgment. I deserve to criticize myself. There's so much wrong about me. And I see it clearly. I mean, look at me. Look at all of the mistakes. Look at all of my failures. And you'll see too. I deserve that criticism. My inner critic is right. And I've been partnering with it for a long time. I've been agreeing with it consciously and unconsciously. And I've been perpetuating beliefs about myself that do not serve me. I don't want to continue doing that. I get how it limits me. I get that how by partnering with my inner critic, there comes a need to punish myself. And there's a part of me that does not want to punish me. There's a part that wants to give to me. And so I choose to speak to that part of me now. I'm willing to expand that side of me now. The side who gets that I am part of the divine, and that the inner critic is a liar and does not speak to the truth of who I am. I think I'm ready to choose. I think that I'm ready to stop partnering, not only with the inner critic, but with everyone and everything who gave me those messages about myself that hold me back, that make me feel unworthy, that make me think I'm not deserving. I choose to unlink myself from that now. Those messages never belonged to me. So right here and right now, I'm willing to return that. I'm willing to return those messages to whoever sent them to me. And anything that doesn't allow that, I choose to uncreate and destroy times a godzillion. Good, bad, right, wrong, all nine, pod and pock, shorts, boys, and beyonds. Okay, so take a deep breath. I combine tapping and access sometimes. Okay, so I'm just going to go right into the access clearings, just a couple of them, and then I'll tell you your home play. We'll get a little feedback, and then I'll let you go. All right, everywhere you've determined, you've decided, you've judged and concluded that there is no rightness of you, and that you are picking up where everybody else left off. Are you willing to uncreate and destroy that pattern now? Times a godzillion. Good, bad, right, wrong, all nine, pod and pock, shorts, boys, and beyonds. What would it take for you to open your heart to yourself? Okay, right? Because when we're criticizing ourselves, when we're judging ourselves, we're closing our heart off to ourselves. So what would it take for you to open your heart to yourself? And anything and everything that doesn't allow that, please renounce, rescind, recant, release, uncreate, and destroy times a godzillion. Good, bad, right, wrong, all nine, pod and pock, shorts, boys, and beyond. What would it take to have compassion for the part of you who is judged so harshly? Not just by you, but by others. And anything that doesn't allow that, please uncreate and destroy times a godzillion. Good, bad, right, wrong, all nine, pod and pock, shorts, boys, and beyonds. And everywhere your inner critic has free reign, you've given it free reign, and you're so used to it, you barely even notice. Are you now willing to come into more conscious awareness and notice on the spot when it happens, so that you have an opportunity to choose differently? And anything that doesn't allow that, which you uncreate and destroy at times a godzillion. Good, bad, right, wrong, all nine, pod and pock, shorts, boys, and beyond. Okay, everybody, nice deep breath. All right, gonna unmute. Let's see, unmute, and one more, unmute. Okay. Anybody have anything they want to share or say before I give you your home play? This is a little bit of a heavier conversation today. And I'm not hearing anybody. So I don't know, maybe you all are muting yourself.
I'm here, Heidi.
Oh, okay. Okay. Yep.
I mean, I guess my biggest thing is I've always been my biggest critic. I mean, that's, just,
Mhm.
in a lot of different aspects, between, business and everything. So I've always been my biggest critic. So that's been my biggest thing that I've been trying to work on, is that I have been working on is, not being so judgmental of myself. And when I do that, then it actually does, it is like a release when I just say, you know what?
Mhm.
Okay. Yeah. That didn't work. So, so what, move on to something else.
Great. Thank you, Gina. Thank you. Fantastic. Okay. Anybody else?
Yeah, excuse me. That was exactly what I needed to hear today. So thank you. That was a beautiful process.
You're welcome. All right.
And I was going to say, I wanted to add one other thing, Heidi, too, that I actually just printed out in big bold letters, just on Word on a big piece, on a big piece of paper. You can write it, in your own handwriting. And I just put on there, I may not be where I want to be, but thank God I'm not where I used to be. And I just actually, I tape that on the front of my laptop. I have it on my wall. I have actually, one of my offices was one of my bedrooms.
Mm-hmm.
And so on the closet door, I have all kinds of stuff, like inspirational stuff and different things. So it's sort of kind of like, I call it my war room, because I kind of got that idea from the movie. I got that idea from the movie, The War Room, which if you ladies haven't seen it, it's really an amazing movie. But that's one of the things that I'm like, okay, it gives me, I say, okay, you know what, I'm not where I want to be, but look how far I've come.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, that's a great reframe. Fabulous, great reminder. And if anybody out there, you're in the middle of kind of like a dip or a low, or you're stuck and you feel like you've been there forever, and you're like, well, it hasn't been worse than this. I can't say that and have that feel good. Ask yourself, how does it get any better than this? How does it get any better than this? Okay. It is possible. It's absolutely possible. And just know that even if where you are was a conscious choice, right? Or it feels like you didn't choose it at all, right? In some way, even with our energy, there's no blame or shame around this, but somehow your energy aligned with where you are, and that's why you're there. So, if you've chosen it, you have the ability to unchoose it. Okay. It may take a while. You may need to plant your stake for yourself. You may need to be that champion for yourself and have that decision. I'm not going to be here anymore, and work towards it. It may take determination, but there's hope for you. There's hope for everyone. So yes. So Gina, thank you. So remind yourself, for those of you who it applies to, that thank God I'm not where I was before. I'll give you appreciation for where you are. And for everybody else, just follow along and say, how does it get any better than this, right? And know that you can unchoose it. All right, so your home play. All right, I don't know if you can do this. I have not done it myself, but I'm going to just throw it out there. The ideal Access Consciousness challenges everybody for 72 hours and have post-it notes and have reminders, but they say with every thought, feeling, and emotion you have for 72 hours. If you can do that with every thought, feeling, and emotion, ask yourself, who does this belong to? And then return to sender, right? You really need to be vigilant with every thought, feeling, and emotion. But if you can do that for 72 hours, your life will be different. Your life will be different. So ideally, I'm not disciplined enough to be able to be conscious 72 hours and do that with every single thought, feeling, and emotion. I think I probably have to sit in a room and just have no outside stimulus in order to do that. But I invite you to do that as much as possible. Okay, to start living in that question. Who does that belong to? Oh, no, I just called myself stupid. Who does that belong to? Where did I get that from? Right? And even if you don't have a name, return to sender. I return to sender with love and consciousness attached, right? Sometimes we don't want to send it with love, and if you don't want to, that's okay. But return to sender. Okay? thank you for today. I hope you enjoy tomorrow and Sunday. I enjoyed creating those recordings for you guys, and you will get them in the morning on Saturday and Sunday. So you can unmute yourself, and if there's anybody who would like to say anything. Anything?
Thank you.
You're welcome.
No, I just wanted to say thank you.
You're
Right.
welcome. Okay. All right. Have a fantastic
Have a great weekend, ladies.
All right.
Yeah.
Thank you. And
I'm excited.
Good. Oh, reminder, Monday, we are taking a holiday since it's a holiday here. Just keep your energetic momentum going. Keep doing your home play. And we'll meet back on Tuesday for our next live call. All right. Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Okay. Bye-bye.
Bye.